Sir, you've achieved a great victory. You've done great services to these United States.
Thank you. I await seeing my victory here put in all the history books for all to learn about.
What, sir? They will never actually teach anything interesting, like history-wise, in school.
Welcome back to Operation School Sucks. I'm your host, JB.
I'm producer Brooke. That skit took us way too long to record.
Yeah, you don't want to know. Okay, so today we got to talk about history class, everyone's favorite class. You know, I think I speak on behalf of all students when they say I cannot wait to go to history class at 1 o'clock. All right, it's a highly flawed class where basically what you have is layers upon layers of really boring and horrible things being taught that are not interesting whatsoever. So, I think one of the first things we should talk about is the structure of the test, specifically something called a DBQ. You may not know what a DBQ is.
Or maybe you do.
It is something called a document-based question. Can't get into it too much, but basically you read a ton of primary source documents, and then you have to write this long essay. The problem with it is that it's highly structured, not applicable to anything else other than that AP exam you really want to get a 5 on. That's it. That's all it is. It's not applicable to anything. You're in a sort of like you're in a chamber where you cannot take anything outside into account.
If all history books or, nonfiction books were written in the way DBQs were, no one would read them at all. It would be so boring.
You're not teaching people how to write. You're not teaching them anything useful at all.
But they're like, this is content.
And that brings us to the next point, which is the trivializing of history. You know, it may be fun for the nerds. I can be one of them sometimes, believe it or not. But it's not fun for anybody else when you have to remember a series of dates in isolation. Well, this happened in 1763 and then 1765 and blah, blah, blah. And it just goes on and on and on. And you're never told, you know what you're never told? You're not told why it's useful, why you should know these things, how this knowledge is supposed to apply to real life. And there are reasons for this. There are reasons. There are ways history can teach us about reality. There are ways we can learn from it. But it's never brought up, and the teacher doesn't know why they're teaching it. I mean, I've heard kids say, "Hey, why are we doing this?" You know, maybe like 3 times in history class, and the teacher has no idea. The teacher's like, it's like important.
You can learn things from history, certainly, but not from just dates. I'm not going to learn anything from the fact that World War II ended in like 1945 or something.
Yeah. So it's been completely trivialized into this thing that, well, you gotta remember this date, and you gotta remember what happened here, and then you gotta, contrast this with this, and you never learn why you're doing it. You never learn what you're supposed to get out of it. It's which leads to great frustration, and it's boring. It's extremely boring. Because of this, and because of the things like the DBQ and the quizzes, which are you're taking every other week. It's extremely boring. And you're not supposed to, you don't learn anything out of it. I mean, really, that's the key thing, is you don't want to learn, so you're not going to learn. You have no desire to learn whatsoever. It's just gone. It's not there.
Another thing is, throughout your schooling, they'll take you through history from whenever they start to whenever they decide to finish. It varies. But you don't really have any choice of what you're going to learn. Some people will like ancient stuff, or some people like European stuff, or, Chinese, or whatever. Different time periods, but they'll just take you through, and you have no choice of what you want to study more in depth.
Really, it's horrible, because you're just stuck with this, you're stuck. You're absolutely stuck. You have, you can't choose anything. So you're stuck remembering dates. You're stuck frustrated because you don't know why you're doing it. You're stuck just not having nothing done actually applicable, because everything is in a DBQ format or a long essay format where you have 1 intro paragraph, 3 middle paragraphs, and a conclusion paragraph, which is really gonna help me when I need to live in the real world. I mean, that's gonna be great. Like, I can't wait for that.
And you're left wishing you were learning something that was actually interesting to you.
Yeah, I mean, this is not going to be interesting. It's not going to be, and it's a scam. It's fundamentally a scam, because what the school system has become is spending as much money as possible pretending like you're teaching while not actually teaching. And this is, I would say, even especially applicable to history, because you never have the remotest idea why you're doing it. I mean, some stuff is somewhat intuitive, like you kind of fundamentally know why you're learning, like science, even if you don't like it, but you don't even know why you're learning this. I mean, you're thinking, what am I doing here? And the real thing is, they're not even teaching you. They're not teaching you. They spend billions of dollars over time on, we're gonna give them this procedure, and then they'll really learn. And then it goes to nothing. It's all been for nothing, because no one likes it, no one wants it. It's all garbage, basically.
And I've learned more from like realistic fiction novels than I like history novels, like historic fiction novels, than I ever will in history class in school.
It shouldn't be that hard, and a real education in history it's very cheap. It doesn't cost you much. It doesn't even have to cost you a penny, frankly, to get a history lesson, to get a history education. But school has poured billions of dollars into it, tens of billions, and has given millions of people a hate for history. They hate it, and why shouldn't they when this is how it's taught? Why shouldn't they? It makes perfect sense. They're not meant to learn. It's not supposed to nurture any kind of love of learning. That's all it is. So that's gonna be about it. History's one of the worst. Remember that. It's very bad. And that's about it. So if you did like this video, please do like, share, and subscribe. You can leave a comment with your thoughts. I would very much appreciate that. And I think that's about it. So until next time, I've been your host, JB.
And I've been producer Brooke.
We have a great rest of your day, and goodbye.